chop chop chop, judo flip, chop chop judo flip, judo flip.
Just one line from it.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. Arise, O compatriot,
And there goes our choir master in the house.
Nigeria is called obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. One nation. Hey! Seriously.
I think it's just a couple of lines, but
Wait, you don't think I do national anthem?
Yeah,
You know, say
I
for university,
Wait,
they
you-
do.
Hello there, hello and welcome to this episode of Know Your Nigerian in 10 Question. This is the scientist speaking here, and I'm welcoming you to this episode on the 0100 Naija podcast. Yeah, it's been a while we did one of these, and this actual episode that we're recording today has been in the works for a long time. My boss here in the studio, yeah, it's a studio, right?
Yeah,
My boss, we are actually recording this in his studio. Yeah, I was in the studio here has been on me for a while, and I've been promising him that we're going to make this episode work. We're going to do this for a long time, and at long last, we're actually making it work. Yeah. So he'll be introducing himself to the audience in a little while, and before I let him do that, or should we do that first? Okay,
course,
please,
yeah, let's-
boss, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, hi, ladies and gentlemen. First, when you say boss, it's making me just nervous. I really don't know what to
Just the
say.
truth now. Let the people know.
Okay, hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rabin Auwal. I'm also known as Dr Hallowin. It's my pleasure being with you today to trash or to discuss some important issues. And by the way, just to make things clear, he is my boss actually, and I'm opportune to have him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
You know how bosses be. They can be so modest at times. And yeah, my boss is always the one to always put on his modest cap at all times. Thanks a lot for honoring us with your presence here in the studio today.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. And I know we are going to have a very interesting session of the podcast today. All right. So to start with, you will first have to introduce the podcast and the series. This is Know Your Nigerian in 10 Question. It's an interview series we do on the podcast. What we do on this series is we have guests, we bring guests onto the podcast, and then we ask them a series of questions. So, as it says in the title, 10 questions, right? No, Nigerian in 10 questions. So, we have a series of 10 questions that we throw to the guests.
Okay.
And these questions are geared towards getting to know our guest perspective on the Nigerian experience, on what it means to be Nigerian from their own perspective. So these questions are like we cherry picked 10 interesting questions that we can use to get a peek into the mind of our guests. All right. So yeah, the questions are open-ended, meaning there are no right or wrong answers. It's just your opinion, your perspective. But to spice things up a bit, after every say 3 or 4 questions, we have a couple of quiz questions here that we like to throw to you to get your factual knowledge this time around of Nigerian history, Nigerian society, and Nigerian culture. So yeah, I think that's about it. All right then, so let's start now. Okay, so for our first interview question now, this is the standard one. We like to know who you are. Okay, you already told us who you are, but we like to know what you do.
Okay. Actually, before I even start, this is very interesting. In fact, I'm already catching fun, and I know that so many people out there listening to this are also feeling the same vibe I'm feeling right now. So just as I said earlier, my name is Rabin Auwal. So many people, my friends, my classmates, my relative, everyone around me call me Dr. Hallowin. This because I do a lot of medical stuff, like I post medical content about diseases and prevention method, and so people get to know me with this. And my nickname actually on my Facebook page, Hello, what is Dr. Hallowin? So that is why I'm called Dr. Hallowin. Of course, you might think Halloween, people have this notion of Halloween being a like a devilish something per se, but I just want to use this
Like a
opportunity to,
pagan festival
yeah,
and
like a
so.
pagan festival. Thank you so much. So I just want to use this little opportunity to tell you that actually it's mean more than that to me. It actually mean there is a word that it's a word that evolved from All Hallows, means All Saints Day. And then that particular day captured my attention, like a day of having a reflection on yourself and coming out to say this is what you want to do. A day you remember yourself. There are a lot of days that you have been lost, and then a particular moment you reflect on yourself and say, okay, this is the day I'm going to do stuffs. Because All Hallows Day is a day that is used to remember the might of the saint. So particularly to me, this name remind me of who I am and what I'm about to do despite the ups and downs. So I hope you get this. Dr. Hallowin means a reflection of myself and coming out to do mighty stuffs, not the pagan usual stuff people see it as. And I do a lot of things actually, not only medical content. I'm into politics, I'm into acts, I'm into cryptocurrency. I do a lot of things. So per se now, I can just tell you I am a medical student and I'm focusing on that, but I have a lot of things I am into, just as I mentioned. So thank you so much.
There's our guest in the house, Dr. Hallowin himself, uh, putting on his ministration cap,
Ah.
being a minister right here on the podcast. All right, it's all good. We are here for that. We love that.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. I appreciate. Thanks so much.
All right, and I know you have a channel, right, on Facebook and some other platform that you post your medical stuff
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I
Okay.
do.
I think towards the end of the podcast, we will ask you to tell us where we can find you online, so you can give us your handles on.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. I will. It's been a pleasure actually.
All right. So there's our guest, Dr. Hallowin himself. You've just met him, of course. Now, so let's go now to our second standard question, as it is here in our notes. If you find yourself outside of this country for an extended period of time, right?
Yeah.
What meal, what food, what Nigerian meal is it that you'll crave the most to remind you of home? I don't know if you understand. Sometimes you find yourself away from home, but then you find yourself feeling a bit nostalgic.
Yeah.
So what food is that the thought of it will give you the most nostalgia, the most thought of home?
Yeah. Actually, this is a very interesting question. Why are you asking me at the right time that so many medical students want to Japan and leave the country? So it's like reminding me that if this become true, a reality. So as a Nigerian and as someone that is coming from the northern part of Nigeria, and Nigeria as a whole, we have a lot of cultural stuffs.
Yeah,
You know,
indeed.
when it comes to aspect of food, you know, the Yoruba has this, the Hausa has this, the Igbo has this. So as someone coming from the north, I know you are familiar with some kind of food that is peculiar to us here in the north, like
Yeah.
let's say tuwo, the miyan taushe, and
That's my favorite is
excellent.
tuwo shinkafa and miyan taushe.
So you like that too?
Yeah, I
Wow,
love it.
wow,
I
that's
love it.
that's very great to hear that from a Yoruba man actually.
That's my favorite.
So here in the north, we have tuwon shinkafa, the miyan taushe. We have this what we call also fate. You know fate?
Uh,
Actually, it's a native food that is form of like it's just like liquid. They use maize with leaves and sometimes
I'm
granules.
not familiar with that.
So like when you go to Kaduna, areas of Kaduna, Jos, and so that food is actually prominent there.
Oh, okay.
So like you see those particular food tuwo da miyan taushe fate kunu gyada and so stuff. But the particular one, the one that I'm going to miss is I don't know if you're ready for this because it's not.
Let's go.
So the white people there or any other country might have it, but it's not that kind special as the one here. That is
Okay.
frade nono.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, frade.
Yeah,
Oh
let's
man,
go.
see,
Let's go.
then man, see, anytime I go to Kaduna, more especially during Christmas period like
Yeah,
that,
that's
I
the first
never
thing you look
miss
for.
those. Yeah, I never. And you know the one you customize and make it fun, it doesn't make sense. But you see the one you call all these Fulani people selling it, you know,
Yeah.
the one that you will sit on the street, breeze will be blowing you, and you are using spoon.
Natural
Oh yeah,
air.
yes, natural air
The
from
natural
God.
blessed air has
Eh,
blown on it.
I think I'll miss that. I think if there's any way I can rebuild that Friday, no, from right from Nigeria to US or Canada, wherever I am, I'll try to get it. So that is it for this month.
That's interesting. I think
Yeah.
no is it yogurt?
Actually, it's not yogurt. I think yogurt people, whoever invented yogurt, saw it from there because oh my god.
Yeah, I think it's like the more natural and more whole form of yogurt, right?
Yeah. Now you get it exactly because the constituent like is right from the source.
Yeah.
But what they do actually, they call it pasteurize. They pasteurize the
Yeah,
milk.
yeah,
They kind of like warm it,
exactly.
but it's too natural. It's too
Yeah.
qualitative. I'm
It still has
telling you.
all the natural ingredients in it. I think
Yeah.
yogurt has been a bit more processed.
Yes, of
Yeah, it's
course,
been
it's
processed to
processed.
remove some things and to
Yeah,
add some
add some
things
things because
to
some yogurt
preserve it and stuff.
exactly because you know modern yogurt now they add some flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some yogurt
Yeah.
you drink and you hear some
They
kind of
add
like
vanilla
flavors. Yeah,
flavor. I think
thank you so much.
some of these stores have like coconut flavor. I think I've seen one
Yeah,
with banana flavor.
exactly. But that is from the natural source. So
Yeah.
like I will miss Frado. No, actually.
And the fura itself, I don't
Yeah.
know what is it made of. I think it's millet, right?
Yeah, you're right.
From
Exactly.
ground
Yeah.
millet.
It's made from millet actually. So the let me I hope I don't forget. Okay, they pick millet and then like pound it.
Okay.
Then to remove the what do we call it? Is it
The husk?
the husk?
Okay.
Yeah, remove it. Then grind the millet. Then in form of powder. Then you kind of like mold it and boil it.
Okay. Oh, so
Yeah, as if you
boil
want to
it
do
after-
unwaki. You know unwaki now.
Yeah.
As if they want to do unwaki. Then immediately after it's been boiled, then you remove it and pound it again to mix it like I don't know that process is long, and there are some people that will put ginger. Oh my god!
Wow.
If you're around where they are pounding the guy, if you're motivated to pass any other exam, I'm telling you.
No, actually, well, I love the nono myself, but I'm very hesitant to take it with fura.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, I don't usually take it fura. I take
Yeah, you
just the
take it
nono
differently.
itself. I just take the nono itself.
Wow. Yeah, I know some particular some people do that. They take the fry alone, that solid one, take
Yeah.
it with sometimes
No.
some people use sugar self.
No, I mean I take the nono.
Okay.
Just the nono.
Hope you know the difference between the fry and the nono because
The nono is the yogurt.
Yes.
Did I say fura earlier?
Yeah. I know
Oh.
you say you take the fry alone.
No.
So that's why I was trying to tell you that.
No.
Some people use it with sugar.
I take the nono. I don't like to add the fura.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I think so. That's it, people. Okay. Oh, you've already given us a lecture on this. There's a follow-up question on this. It's a fan favorite, right?
Yeah.
And you actually made it easier on yourself when you went for it. Actually, it's good. We love to have it here. So the thing is, the follow-up question is because I've asked people what their favorite meal on the podcast before. Some people said amala, some go for my, some say go with a couple of stuff. The follow-up question to that is, how is it prepared? But I think you've already given us a bit of a lowdown on how to prepare. So yeah, I think that's actually good. That's the hallmark of a medical student. They're too savvy. All right.
Because actually, but it's not our fault now.
It's not
I
our
just
fault.
watched one comedy now. One consultant was asking somebody, okay, what is pain? The guy said, they say in brief, trying to explain what is pain, and then the guy said, pain is an unpleasant sensation, or that is this and that is burning, gripping. The normal is
the pathway
yes.
of how the pain is
Yes,
transmitted
and the
in
guy
body.
said, the man said, is that all? He said yes now. He said,
You are a clown.
you are a clown. You are watching video tonight. So imagine like you're always
Yeah.
ready for everything as a medical
that's-
student.
That's good. That's great. All right. Now, for the third interview question. Growing up, right? You grew up here in Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Growing up here in Nigeria, what was your favorite Nigerian movie? That's a Nollywood movie.
Oh my god. Yeah. I think before I say anything, I would like to say growing up in Nigeria is a blessing. I know that we are going through hard times a lot, but like, oh my god, if you miss growing up in Nigeria, like you have missed a lot, even though we went to Japan. So like growing up as a person in Nigeria, I think one of the things I enjoy is watching early Nigerian films. What I mean by early Nigerian films, I mean no offense, but now I don't watch Nigerian films because like I like the early Nigerian films. That was a particular moment where people really act about circumstance. The classic one. Act about reality, not like compared to what is happening now. Of course, it's about our money, relationship, and that's all. So there is this Nigerian film. I don't know if you know it. It's a popular one. I don't think anybody growing up in the early even 2000 children, yes, of course, early 19s. So I see early late 1990s, I mean 1998 and 2000.
Yeah.
I know I don't know where the particular film trend, when it trend, but
Okay.
I know so many people know it. You know, it's Sakaba now.
Oh yeah.
No,
Of
no,
course.
no, no, no,
That
no,
was
no.
early 2000s. Yeah.
Okay, early 2000s,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. But I think we
Early
watch.
to mid 2000s.
Yeah,
That's when
but
the
we
movie.
came and watched the film around 2020, 2008 because I
Oh,
remember then I was in
that was
primary.
later. That was.
Yeah, later on. But I know that the film was in the early.
I'm trying to see
20.
when the movie first came out now.
Okay.
That was early 2000s. I think if I remember correctly, it should be around 2001 to 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember watching the movie, and
Yeah.
I was a huge follower of Isaka
Yeah.
then.
No.
And
That film.
the sequels they made
Mm.
after
Yeah, I think the
after the first one.
whosoever produced that film or they
The
did great.
actors, Okay,
Like,
the follow-up question to this, of course,
okay,
is
okay,
that
okay.
do you
Let me
know?
know. Yeah.
Can you tell us an actor in the movie? The name of an actor in the movie?
Oh my god! I'm not just good in like remembering people, in getting people name, in recalling people names, but if I see them, I'll be able to
You can't forget
identify.
the main guy.
No.
The main guy used to be
Okay,
like
well,
a big guy, a
okay.
big action guy.
No,
in
if you
Nigerian
can give me
movie.
an option, like
I can't
I
give
can't.
I don't know many.
I can't remember.
I
his
actually
name.
don't know the name of many Nigerian actors myself, but I know the name of this guy.
Yeah, actually, see, to be honest, but now, see, I'm telling you the truth. Like, I really love that film.
Sam Dede.
Sam Dede. Okay, was
Yeah,
the main
that's
actor,
the
right?
main guy,
What?
the leader of the militia, the Sakaba guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the way they acted that movie. It was real and it was something that is trending. It was subject of matter in our community, of course,
right.
cultists and stuffs. So like those early films really depict what we are as a Nigerian and what is happening in Nigeria. So like I fell in love with that movie, and then I don't know what that is my weakness. Like it's hard for me to remember names, particular name of a movie, name of an actor, but I do recall that Aki and Popo movie, Unkwa, Samuloko, I watch those movies. Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah. So like I love those movies, though I can't recall their names. So I think this were my favorite movies.
That's great, actually.
Yeah.
That's great. So before we move on to the next interview question now, like we said, we will like to spice things up with quiz questions every once in a while to test your factual knowledge of Nigerian history and Nigerian society.
Yeah,
so the first one,
kind of like package,
well, there's a little package.
Thanks, man. I trust you.
Okay. I'm grateful you do trust me, because I actually forgot to come here with the package. But we'll be meeting afterwards. Now we'll meet subsequently. I do have a package for you, definitely. All right then. So for the first question now, let's see. I don't want to throw you a particularly hard one. At least to start with, let's make it easy. Then we throw the hard ones afterwards.
Hope you can call when the question is all harsh. You can call your loved ones and you reach out.
See, I know I try to be a good Nigerian and all, right? And as in the spirit of being a good Nigerian, I say no to bribery and all. But in this case, see, I won't mind you bribing me to tell you the answer. If you
that's why you didn't get the point. I was saying, hope you can call your boss. If you are one of the boss now, you ask me, I don't know, just say boss.
I will need a bribe, a cut of that package. So let's see. What do we go with here? Okay. There are no easy questions here. What do we do?
Okay, you know what? I'm warming up as a medical student, we don't give up, they always motivate us. Just throw any question, I'm ready to answer.
Okay, let's go.
I say it's not politics, football, I just want to relate.
It's history.
God.
It's history. It's Nigerian history.
I can never make it.
Don't worry, you will. Let's go. How familiar are you with the history of leadership in the Nigerian government?
Okay. Well, I know from just a point of view, I know that it all started well and then it graduated to going not well and then later go well. Yes.
Okay, that's a debate for another day. Whether it started well or not.
Okay, actually, I know that. Okay, I know that the white people came and they use indirect method of ruling.
Okay, the question is getting towards is this: the history of like the people who've headed the Nigerian government. Okay. How familiar are you with the people who've headed the Nigerian government over time?
I am familiar with. I'm familiar with it, of course. It's
Okay.
do you want me to rate it like?
No, don't worry, we'll come there.
I know that we have social persons.
You are quite familiar with the
Not
history.
when you say quiet, I'm afraid because quiet means a lot. Like I fairly,
Okay.
I
All
fairly
right. So
know.
let's.
Yeah,
The question is this.
But I don't like history actually. I don't like history. Let me just be.
History is important. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
you can't
important.
discount
Yeah,
the
it's-
importance of history
Yeah, it's important.
in our life and our affairs.
Yeah, actually.
Okay. So here's the question. You know everyone knows who the first Nigerian president is.
Yes, I can say it, but until I hope I will not disappoint you. Nandi Ezekwe, right?
Yeah, that's the first
Yeah.
president, right? It was a ceremonial president.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Was it they call him head of state?
No,
Then
it's,
I think-
it's a ceremonial president. Head of
Okay.
state was a term that was used to describe the ones that came afterwards, those are especially the military leaders.
Okay.
But head of state is a general umbrella term.
Okay.
But we specifically use it around here to describe the military leaders because you don't want to call them what they are.
Okay.
You know, it's like a euphemism that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
use.
yeah.
You know, because what they actually are is a word nobody wants to be, but it's what they were. But anyways, that's it. That's a long discussion for another day.
Yeah.
The question though is this. So Nnamdi Azikiwe was the first ceremonial president in Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
Who was the first executive president? That is the first elected president.
Oh, wow. Okay, like the person that they cast vote for.
The first person to be
Hi.
casted vote for to become the president, and he became the president.
And he actually became the president because there's one
Yes.
I know that they didn't allow him to become the president.
That one, the one that I think you're thinking of, became,
Abiola, yeah.
it came about 20 years or so
Oh.
after this one.
Oh my god. So like apart from Nnamdi Azikiwe now, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see.
That's why I first asked how familiar you are with the history of the.
And I know it's not Tafawa Balewa because Tafawa Balewa was
He was the
together
prime
with
minister.
yeah,
He
he's
wasn't
prime minister with
elected.
Nnamdi Azikiwe then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give me options?
Okay.
Yeah.
Option A, Sir Anthony Enahoro. I don't know if he's a sir, but his name is Anthony Enahoro.
Hi, Anthony Enahoro. Okay.
B,
Uh-huh.
I just make this too cheap for you.
Okay.
But then, let's go.
I might not getting it, so don't worry. Just give me it. Yeah.
B, Obafemi Awolowo.
Obafemi Awolowo.
C,
Okay.
Alhaji Shehu Shagari.
Can Shagari. Wait to Shagari. Anthony Enahoro and Obafemi Awolowo. Kai, I know Shagari should come later on because there is something he did Shagari about, is it green pasture, something like that. So I think it's later on.
I've not seen anything.
Okay. And Anthony Enahoro, he's not even prominent. He's not even in Nigerian money. So
everybody listening, I'm not saying anything.
God.
It's just rationalizing on his own.
If I fall my hands for it like this now, like my grandchildren will be listening to this.
Alright, let's go now.
See, okay. So I think I'll go with Obafemi Awolowo.
Do you know who Obafemi Awolowo was?
So like I will let me change the option.
I only asked the question. I did not say you right or wrong.
But wait, Anthony now. I know Anthony now. Gaskiya should be out. He should be out. So I'm left with just two options.
Okay.
Shehu Shagari. Yes, of course. Shehu Shagari was not a military. Was it military? Shehu Shagari? No, it was not a military. And then Obafemi Awolowo, was it even a president? I will go with Obafemi Awolowo. I know it's wrong. It's like it should be Shehu Shagari.
Why only go for it if you know it's wrong? Which one are you going for?
me, I just feel that Shehu Shagari came later. Shehu Shagari was not early. Like I think it's after Shehu Shagari was.
When we're talking the first elected president,
yeah,
it's not early either. If you remember the
history of
that is government,
that is true.
I'm not giving you
Okay.
I'm not giving him any expo. If you remember the history of like the early history of Nigeria,
yeah.
So Nnamdi Azikiwe was the first ceremonial president, right?
Yeah.
And under him was Tafawa Balewa, the prime minister.
Yes.
I don't know, is that under him then or over him? Anyways, yeah. So together they were heading the government then, and then they headed the government for like 6 years before we had the first military coup, right?
Yeah.
So remember, after the first military coup, we had a series of military coups before
Okay.
democracy returned.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it wasn't really early days either.
Yeah.
It's not too
That is
late, but
that
it's
is
not
true.
really early days.
That is
So
true.
just to get that cleared.
Hi, you have just confused me. You have just devastated like my decision. Like I'm not even certain
We
now.
love to see it.
Okay.
Make your choice.
Okay. Actually, that is very true. Now the question I'm going to ask myself is, Obafemi Awolowo. But he was a president, of course.
Was he?
That's another question. I'm not sure. But me, I know for certainty that
Yeah.
Shehu Shagari,
Mhm.
he was a president. That one for sure.
He was?
Yes.
Okay, when?
Me, I don't know, but I know. I think it's after Shehu
Do you
Shagari.
remember who came before him?
No,
Or who
I
came
can know
after?
who came after him. I think it was Buhari. Then Babangida overthrew him.
Dude, I mean, you know this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Just point on.
So like me now. Okay, let me just use one calculation number. If actually, wait, let me ask you. Obafemi Awolowo,
Yeah.
like was it in the early days or later on? If I can know this one, I will get this answer right.
Okay, Obafemi Awolowo was there in the early days, and he died in the 1990s. So yeah, I don't know.
If it was in
He
the
certainly would fit in that timeline.
yeah.
He was there in the early days, early days of the formation of the modern state of
Yeah.
Nigeria. Well, thereabout before independence and following independence. So he was there. He was a high-ranking guy in one of those people there, and then he died in 1990. So of course he was there for it all.
So number, I think I will just make one conclusion now.
Yeah, final answer.
If Obafemi, I'll be asking myself some question. I'll answer them. If Obafemi Awolowo was in the early days, he most likely be a military personnel. And let's say, for example, what if Nnamdi Ezekwe? I know Nnamdi Ezekwe was a coup. So let's say an Igbo man now under coup. I know definitely the next people that want to rule will be the other. Will be the other ones. So and if Obafemi Awolowo was in early age, if it's a military, it's not democracy. And you say elected, right? Like elected.
The first elected president.
First elected. Final answer.
Mhm.
Final. I know Obafemi Awolowo. I am sure he did not contest. Did he? He did not contest.
Okay.
So I'll go for Shehu Shagari. I know. Wait. If parliamentary, I failed it in. Yeah.
Final answer, Shehu Shagari.
Final. Wait. Can't I make some calls? And
No, you
wait,
can't.
Shehu Shagari. Well, at least even when I fail, I know I've tried.
Okay.
And I go for Shehu Shagari.
All right, and you bravely went for after rationalizing the world over and back.
Because
You can't because you are right.
excellent.
Yeah, Shehu Shagari is the right answer. So actually, Obafemi Awolowo was a prominent Nigerian Yoruba businessman, right? And he was one of the early heads of one of the first political parties that rose from the southwest. Is it the Action Group now? They were called back in the day. I think I know. Following in the early days, after the formation and stuff, there was so much manipulation. That's why earlier on when you said it started well in Nigeria, man, when people sit down and talk about our forefathers and how things were good in their time and they were good people,
things were not actually good.
That's because you have no idea what they did in those days, man. If you understand the things that went on in those days, you know these people that are in government now and the leaders we have today, they learned it from somewhere. They learned it from their fathers. So there were a lot of manipulation, a lot of collusion, political parties joining with each other, the AG from the West joining with the NCNC and the NPC in the North and stuff, and alliances and betrayals and stuff. So actually, although I don't think he even ever got to be the premier of the Southwest. I know the first premier of the Southwest was Akintola, and they later had quarrels with Awolowo that led to some serious debacle, in the Southwest, in Ibadan and Lagos and some other Southwestern cities. This was part of the major things that led to the first coup.
Excellent.
The quarrel between Obafemi Awolowo and Akintola, and how the northerners, and especially the federal government tried to make things sway in particular directions. It was part of the major reasons for the first coup. which led to the civil war, of course. But I think all this is will be part of the episode that I'm working on
Mm. Okay.
for the history of the civil war. I know I've now listeners, please, I know I've been promising this for a long time, and this episode, the history of the Nigerian civil war, is a three-part episode, and it was supposed to come immediately after the episode 7. Now this should be episode 16, right?
Yeah.
This was an episode that's supposed to come in episode 7, but then I really do not want to do a shoddy job. I want to do a good job of it, going through the history and saying things for a fact how they were, with my sources and references, of course. And that's why it's taking such a long time. But I promise it's coming. It's coming soon. When you get it, you'll have it, and it's well worth the wait. Anyways, that's just a Obafemi Awolowo was a businessman and a politician. He started to be the one that introduced free education to the southwest. So of course, people are not in black and white. People make mistakes, but of course, they do things right the rest of the time. So yeah, free education. If you heard, I don't know if you've heard of the Cocoa House in Ibadan.
Cocoa House, okay. I've
Yeah,
heard of it, but I
it's
don't
a
know
prominent
much
building in
about
Ibadan. It was a major deal
it.
back
Okay,
in
he
the
was
day.
the one who brought it.
Yeah, he was one of the major figureheads that spearheaded like the development and the building of the building, and he has a lot of other achievements too in his time, of course. But nevertheless, I think from what I've heard, from what some things I've read, also played a major role in how devastating the civil war got to become. Even though he himself was a victim of political oppression, but then be a part of oppression of others. Hey, people from the southwest, I know this is a major hero for people. Please don't call for me. I'm just saying from what I've read in history books and
I think some people
fact is
understand.
fact,
Fact is fact. Some people understand.
Yeah, so he didn't actually get to be a major political leader. He was more like he was a leader, right? A stakeholder, a statesman, an elder statesman. Yeah, but he wasn't. I don't think he actually held a major political position. Most of the positions he held were appointed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was a minister at some point. So yeah, they were appointed positions, not actual political or elected positions. Shehu Shagari, however, was the first elected president in Nigeria. He became a president after Obasanjo. Obasanjo became the head of state, military head of state, after his boss, Murtala Mohammed, was killed in the coup, the Dimka coup. And so he became the military head of state. I think that was around 1973. So he ruled from 1973 to I think 75, when he decided to step aside and they conducted elections, and Shehu Shagari became the president. And then he ruled for I think about 5 years before the Buhari coup, because things have never been good in this country. His regime was, from what I've read, of course, I wasn't there. From what I've read, was mired with corruption and a lot of stuff. And that's why Buhari came in the first thing. One of his major talking points was the war against indiscipline. The Buhari, the Agbon government. Yeah. So yeah, that's about that. And Sir Anthony Enahoro was an elder statesman from what used to be like the Midwest, if I remember correctly.
Boss, you are good in politics, so me,
this is my job.
Actually.
It's a job.
Every man is good in his job.
Exactly.
Of course, you are excellent in it.
It's a job I've taken for myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's great. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah,
you got that.
I appreciate my thanks, man. I'm feeling myself right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you're getting into the spirit. Okay, so talking about your favorite Nigerian things, who is your favorite Nigerian artist or musician?
Of course. Why you didn't ask me this question from the beginning, man?
We're saving the good ones for.
Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, I wish and I hope everyone is listening to me right now, because I'm going to mention someone great, an artist that's made exploit, that has not only taken Nigeria to a greater height, but Africa entirely, man.
Wow.
And you know who I'm talking about.
Who is this guy?
It's your boy Queen. It's your boy Wizkid. Wiz man.
So
Big Wiz.
Eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now he's called a Big Wiz. But we all know him as Wizkid, Wizkid, oh my god. Wizkid has been a source of inspiration. Before, when I was growing, as a kid. I wanted to be a musician. So
Wow.
Wizkid was my role model, should I say?
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
But even now, even though now I'm into medical discipline profession, do you know that Wizkid is still my role model? You know why? Because I look at Wizkid in his own profession and I see the way he do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
The way he cave out his own part in his own
Yeah, it's
cave.
actually pretty.
Exactly.
pretty
So I feel
stylish.
everyone should do the same thing. If you're an engineer, be like Wizkid in your engineering. Bring out some models, carve your own way, do something differently from people. So if you're a doctor, also do your own ways. Kind of like do your things different and make exploit. Make yourself proud, make your mama proud, make everyone around you proud. Wizkid has make every Nigerian proud.
Yeah, indeed.
Wizkid, even though our politicians and some facts in Nigeria are taking us down, like, but the world of music as of now, if you don't listen to Nigeria song, if you don't dance to Nigerian
You
music,
don't
it's
know
like
what's up.
you don't know what's up as of now that we are concerned.
Yeah.
So I like Wizkid. There are other artists too. I don't know if I should, of course,
Yeah, of course you can
mention him. So I
honorable
think,
mention.
yeah. So, like I said, Wizkid is the number one, is the number two, is the number three.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
this is number one Wizkid
Yeah,
FC
yeah,
guy
yeah.
in the house.
I don't know if the video guys are listening to me. Of course,
No,
like
no
like yeah,
offense.
no
he
offense.
says he likes Wizkid. He didn't say he hates the
Yeah,
video.
yeah. Thank you so much. I didn't say I hate Davido. Of course, I like Davido's personality. I love his music. I love the way he flows around with people. In fact, I really love Davido. So I think I said Wizkid number one, number two, number three. So I
Yeah.
think the person I'm going to put at number four should probably be Davido. Yeah, let's go together.
Okay.
Let's flow. Let me flow with
all right.
yeah. Yeah, I like Davido.
Okay.
One thing I like about him is his personality. He's a very simple guy, even though he comes from a very prominent family, a very rich family, and having the talent as a musician. But I like the way he flows around with people. I like the way he helps people. I like the way he thinks of himself. Yeah, I like the way Davido see himself. I think that is also a part for me to learn. It doesn't matter your height, your achievement in life, what you are. Just always see yourself as equal to people. The way Davido mingle with his guys, and I like that stuff. Then after Davido, I will go for I wouldn't like to say much, but maybe the likes of Omale, Brona Boy. Yeah, I know some people are waiting for me to do Brona Boy because Brona Boy has hit. And then lest I forget my boy, the one I like. Yeah, the guy I like. I like the way he sings songs, and you know what I'm talking about. Rema, Rema, man. I like it, yeah. So these are the songs.
That's great. That's a nice list of the who is who in today's music industry in Nigeria, of course. Okay. But your number one is Wizkid, as you said. Yeah. So what will you say is your favorite song by Wizkid or favorite album by him?
Well, my favorite album from Wizkid is Made in Lagos, of course.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But let me ask, lest I forget, I think Ojuelegba is inside Made in Lagos.
No.
Is it?
Ojuelegba was from,
okay. Was
Joy.
Okay, yeah, Joy, nothing but Joy. Exactly. My God.
The name of the album, Joy. Joy.
Okay, Joy. Okay,
that's
then
2015, 2016 there about it.
Yeah. So I would say Wizkid favorite. Well, okay, let me just drop Ojuelegba first because I just remember something.
So that's a favorite song by him?
Yeah. Well, that's why I just remember something, and so that's why I want to drop it. Okay. My favorite song from Wizkid was his first song that made him blow out.
Holla at your boy?
Yeah, of course. Then we were in secondary school, yeah, this kind of like fancy song. Then nobody sing like that.
Yeah, and wait, sorry, please. You took me back. You're taking me back.
I like that. That's the work of Wizkid.
I remember when the song came out, right? Song stars, yeah, it's your boy Weezy.
That kind of you get.
I knew Lil Wayne then,
yeah,
and I knew he calls himself Weezy, right?
Yeah,
and so I was, but it doesn't sound like Lil Wayne now. The voice is thinner than Lil Wayne's voice,
yeah,
and it's smoother than his voice, so his voice is a bit rough now.
Yeah.
So who is this calling himself Weezy? And it sounds good. So you can't say this is a fake Weezy, so to speak.
Or something like that.
Because it sounds really good.
Yeah,
like this is a thing that if Lil Wayne were to sing it, it wouldn't be out of place.
Yeah, it wouldn't be out of place. Yeah, exactly.
It's a different voice, and it's a Weezy. Who is this Weezy? And I didn't own a phone then or something. It was on someone else's device. It was afterwards. Subsequently, I was asking about the guy, and I said it's a Nigerian guy actually. So people, I think the first guy I asked actually told me is like the Nigerian Justin Bieber. That's actually what.
Damn.
That
Yeah,
this
yeah, I
was
like that. I like
2010, right? That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2010.
I
Yeah,
like
someone was describing. This was my secondary school mate then.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just took me back in the day.
Yeah, actually, just as you said,
Yeah.
you know, then when we were in secondary, was it secondary school? No, primary, I think. Olachuboy was in
No,
primary.
I was in
Well, I
SS.
can't.
I was in SS2.
Even if I was in secondary school, maybe JSS, early JSS.
Okay.
So like we had the song "If You See Me Pass By," Olachuboy.
Your
You know,
boy.
even the video itself like was
Yeah,
captivating.
the
You know,
video was awesome.
Wizkid
I mean,
was fresh and his girlfriend.
you've
You know,
seen people even try to recreate the spirit of those videos subsequently. Like,
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the song by
Is it one they call it? You
no,
know
no, no,
one?
there's this song by this Maven guy, Crayon,
Okay,
that
Korean.
blew up earlier this year.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ijola Balaba.
Okay,
Yeah, you could
yes,
see
they were
that.
creating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
spirit
yeah.
was
It's the
still
spirit, of
from
course,
that
from
whole
that.
Boy and stuff. Yeah, it
So
was
entirely,
interesting.
if we were to see the truth, nobody then was singing it like that.
No,
Whiskey
there
brought
was
that. You know,
nothing like that.
I remember then it was all the life of African China, Jogodo.
Yeah.
So like, and maybe then P Square were imitating Michael Jackson.
Also,
But then nobody was singing like Wizkid. He just came out, and then before you know, a lot of artists begin to sing like him. So like Hola Chiboy, oh my god! If today I still have Hola Chiboy on my phone.
it was revolutionary.
Yeah, yeah, of course, it's changed. You know, it's made a lot of people want to go into music and stuff like that. So Hola Chiboy then. I mean, I'm not Yoruba, but I wish I am a Yoruba person, like to understand all Wizkid says. Yeah,
I think a lot of the song was also in English and stuff,
yeah. So
I get the gist even if you don't understand the whole.
Yeah, exactly. But all I know, even if I don't, all I know is that he's expressing love. Yeah, he's expressing love for his people and how hard he has put his energy. So I still love that. You know, Wizkid, man, Wizkid is out of space, man. When we talk about music, yeah. So that, and his album, just as I said, made in Lagos. You know, it branded, it's brought some things like nobody does. Just as I say, Wizkid always brings something nobody has done before.
Yeah,
so
I know. And I know some people have some gripes with him about his recent songs and what he sings about. But the thing is, you have to understand that when you an artist, I mean an artist in general, now you make art, the art you make is a reflection of what you're living through for the most part, right? And even as a musician, what you sing about will be as a reflection of what your life is at the moment. So in his early days, he sang about what his life was like. That's when he had songs like "Holla at Your Boy" and "No Lele." "No Lele" is actually probably my favorite song by Wizkid. So it's from his first album too, and songs like that. And then subsequently in his second album, "Joy," you have songs like Jaye Jaye, Oju Elegba, like you say, when he was reminiscing back back in the day before he made it and stuff. So of course, and his recent albums, his recent songs are about his presence life. And you see, even the title of his last album, right? More Love, Less Ego. It's about his life. He sees things that are going on around him, and he wishes people express love more and like minimize the impact of their ego, the negative impact of their ego on their life.
I think everything Wizkid is doing is he's communicating to people what he's going through his music. So people need to be very sensitive to understand what
you're supposed to do as an artist.
Which is what you're supposed exactly. Some people say now he sings only about woman, only about money. He doesn't sing about suffering. But you have done that.
He's done that.
You have done that. You have done that in the past. So you don't expect. I know if you're in a hard situation, I understand what you're going through, but I can't understand the way you do.
But that's not his life.
Yes, right? That is not his life at that moment. So he's expressing what he's going through.
So that's great. You've taken us into philosophy. You've been so philosophical in this episode. But it's all good. I know. I know the other members will be enjoying it, of course. Yeah. So. Okay, so let's now this next question, right? It's what we've coined on this podcast or these episodes, right, as a test of how Nigerian you are. Forget about the quiz questions; those ones are just to spice things up. This one, you want to know how Nigerian you are. Have you even devised a score for it? Okay, so you know how many states we have in Nigeria, right? 36 of them. Okay, so the question actually is this: how many states have you been to in Nigeria? So here is how we score it. The pass mark is for you to have gone to at least a quarter of the states in Nigeria. Either that or to have been to at least a state in the 3 major regions. So if you have been to a state in the north, apart from the state you reside in, a state in the southeast, or in the east, there about that southeast and south. Good. Let's put that
Yeah.
as one region, and then a
Yeah.
state in the southwest. Then you are a true
Ah.
Nigerian. Either you've been to a state in those three regions, or you've
Ah.
been to at least a quarter of the states. A quarter of the states being 9 states in total.
Yeah.
Aha. So let's see, how Nigerian are you?
Oh my God. Well, this is like robbing you, but at the same time not robbing you. I don't know what to say. Yeah,
Let's go.
with this score, I might. Okay, let's see. So now she mentioned
So
how
just
many
go
states.
list them. Let's go.
Okay, of course, I've been to Kano. Which we are in
All
Kano.
right, that's one.
I've been to Kaduna State.
Okay, 2,
I've been to Katsina State.
3,
I've been to Jos.
4,
I've been to Abuja.
5,
I've been to Ilorin.
6. That's Kwara
Uh,
State.
yes, Ilorin,
Okay.
Kwara State. Where have I been to that I can't
All
check
right.
up? And that's it.
All right. So, our audience members, I'm not even going to. I'm not going to attempt scoring it, but then there you have it. That's 6 states in all. Okay. So, no, it's not that you're not a Nigerian,
Okay.
but how much of a Nigerian are you now? If you have 6/9, so you are what of a Nigerian? You are more than half a Nigerian, but you are somewhere between half a Nigerian and 3/4 of a
So
Nigerian.
now,
Look, that's 2/3.
So where they will come through me
That's
now?
2/3
Ghana,
of
Bina,
one Nigeria.
Niger,
No, we still keep you here for the meantime. It's not.
Aye, no.
You have not committed a crime yet. We're just hoping we will keep you in our prayers and hope
God.
hope God adds on to you,
The
blesses you with
traveling
enough money
blessing.
to travel about a bit more.
And actually, I would have traveled far. I would have been to Benin and Lagos State.
That will have solved it now.
Oh my God! I
That
had
will have solved
opportunity.
it,
I had
actually.
opportunity to
Because Benin is
yes.
in the south, right? And
Okay,
Lagos
yeah.
is in southwest. So that will have
Yeah.
just completed it for you.
How?
Yeah. So
Well,
anyways, yeah. So
I'll try next time.
Next
I
time
assure
you-
you in the next podcast, if I'm going to come for podcast, I'm sure I will be more in Nigerian. Like I'll be 100% in Nigerian. by
And
then.
hopefully this
Yeah.
podcast blows up before then. I think what I said to the last guest on the previous episode was
Yeah.
that if this were a big podcast, we could have just taken her on a road trip and just make stops along several states along the way. Right?
Actually, that would be great.
I know that time is coming. Don't
Yeah.
be able to do that.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's great. Let's go on to the next interview question now. Okay. Now this one is a pretty interesting one too,
Okay.
right? It's a test of, okay, let's see how well you know Nigerian culture, and in specific now cultural sites in Nigeria. The question is, what's your favorite heritage site in Nigeria? Right? Heritage site, culture site, tourism attraction area in Nigeria.
Well, for the cultural attraction side, like
Yeah.
I get to the point, but for heritage, I really don't understand what it means.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the same. About the
Okay.
same thing as a cultural attraction site.
okay.
The heritage site is like a place or an event that people take a part in, or that is important to certain people in a certain area, because of their tradition and their culture. The cultural attraction is when they have marketed that culture or that
Okay,
aspect of their
to other
culture
people,
to other
yeah.
people for them to come and participate in or to witness it too. So yeah, they are different.
Well, first of all, I would like to say to everyone listening, that know Nigeria. If you're in Nigeria, you know that Nigeria is a diversified country, like we're full of different cultures, and So with these questions, what I'm going to respond to, I mean no offense, like I'm not going to choose from which one is which one, but I just want you to understand that even from my own culture, so I fall in love with other people's culture. Like sometimes, just like I mentioned earlier, like sometimes I just wish I know how to speak Yoruba, Sometimes too with the Igbo stuffs, the way they do their kingship, some stuff like that. I just wish I be an Igbo. Sometimes also with the kingship of the North. Sometimes, so I just want you to put your mind neutral and understand what I'm going to say or what we are discussing right now. So it's not going to be a matter of choice, just going to be a matter of expression and what I feel. So per se, I would like to say to be very honest. Of course, we know Nigeria is made of three major cultures. Yoruba, Hausa, and major. Yeah, that is why I said major.
Right.
Because even me, I'm a tiny. Yeah,
right?
because even me, like this, I'm from Kaduna State and I'm not
Kaduna State is like a hot soup of cultures.
cultures, yes.
Yeah.
So even me, I'm a minority. Like I'm a minor. Even in Kaduna, I'm not among the major because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have Jaba, we have Zangon Katap. I'm not even the major. So I'm a minor. Talk more of Nigeria.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, just as I mentioned, as someone from Nigeria who love Nigerians, who love everything about Nigeria, I like to see my first cultural attraction per se is should I mention what they do because I might not know the full name.
Just your favorite. Yeah, you can also mention one.
Okay, my favorite is you know, I love the way, I don't know what is it, Ife they call it,
Ife.
Ifeku.
Yeah.
The culture, the one they do with the king blessings, this the I don't know how, but I used to watch it sometimes. Like
Okay.
I sometimes it make me think like, was I just wonder what's he so special about this that these people don't
Okay,
want
the
to live.
Oba of Ife, you mean?
Yeah, they
Okay.
do some culture stuff like that.
Yeah,
Sometimes they
yeah,
show it on
no,
television.
yeah. There are a number of. I don't know if there is any particular festival, but I know like generally they do have festivals that they participate in, or they do occasionally. You know, Ife is in Osun State.
Okay, yeah,
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 and the
Ocean
Oba
State,
of
for
Ife
instance.
is seen like the proto Oba of Yoruba leaders,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because the Ife Kingdom and
Mm.
Ife Empire, I'm trying to, yeah, is one of the first, if not the very first, major Yoruba kingdoms,
Mm.
right? Before it was uh overthrown by the Oyo Empire.
Okay.
So the Oyo Empire was the last one. It
Mm.
was one of the great empires when the Europeans even visited Nigeria and they
Mm.
toppled it over. But yeah, Ife was the one that was the big boy before Oyo Empire. So
Okay.
the Oba of Ife is seen like, because many Yoruba states,
Mm.
including the Oyo Empire themselves, right,
Okay. Yeah.
they trace their roots back to Ife.
Wow.
So that's why the Oba of
That's
Ife today now is seen as probably like the top guy in terms of when you considering the leaders of the Yoruba kingdom or Yoruba lands. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So having said that, thank you so much for the
And
enlightenment. So
I've been to Ife before. Well, I'm from Oshu State, right? So I've been to
mm,
Ife before, and it's a pretty interesting town. It's a
yeah,
nice
yeah,
town.
yeah, yeah.
I remember and if you watch TV, right, and they show like some attraction centers in Nigeria, you
Mm.
see there's this roundabout that they show one sometimes with a massive statue of a head
Yes. And
in the
something
midst of it.
I've
That's
seen
in
one.
Ife.
I've
It's
seen
actually,
one, two people holding calabash. I don't know if you see like it's statue. I don't know.
I can't
Wherever
remember where that one is from.
and
Yeah, but this one is just the massive statue of a head in the
okay.
middle of the roundabout. I think it's a bronze statue. It's
Wow.
very amazing. It's nice to see
Wow.
in person.
So that being said, the Yoruba people are so I don't know to say magneted to their culture, and it fascinates me. I really love that.
Yeah,
I want to have time to go to all these
yeah,
southwest states to go and explore more about this culture
yeah.
because like
Really.
it's something just in my brain keeps telling me why is it that these people, no matter how a Yoruba man is like civilized, educated, he's still clinging onto his culture. That must have shown that there's something so
Oh,
interested.
you should check out Wole Soyinka then. The guy is
Yeah,
a professor. He's renowned worldwide, right? He
yeah,
lectures in foreign universities and all that. But man,
yeah,
this man loves the Yoruba culture.
yeah.
Even
Of
in
course,
his writing, this guy
yeah.
will be writing about advanced and complex philosophical concepts and stuff, and bashing people, but he will always find a way to put in Yoruba concepts, even
Exactly.
Yoruba terms and stuff, referring back to his
Mm,
days in his childhood days in Yoruba
yeah.
land and stuff like that.
And
It's fascinating to see
I cherish
actually.
that. That is one thing the white people. I don't mean I mean no offense if there is any white person listening to me, but I mean to say that people brought civilization to us, trying to separate you from where you come from.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody have an origin. You have where you come
Oh,
from,
and he
so
said no
you
offense.
should.
Every offense possible because of course the thing that they committed those
Yeah,
crimes
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So you come to separate someone from his culture, from
Yeah,
what he knows, from where gives him meaning.
that's cultural
so
murder.
so that is why I'm saying I'm interested to know about it,
Yeah,
for people civilized to that level but still clinging to their culture, so it must be very important to them.
yeah,
So when I explore every Nigerian, so if you have your culture, see wherever you go, make sure you go along with your culture because
yeah,
of course the another thing I want to say also, when it comes to history of war, hierarchy, leadership,
yeah.
I am also fascinated about the Hausa culture, mode of ruling, more especially.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they had adopted that from the Arabians per se. I don't know, but I know I like the way it goes from the kingship, the queen, the armies. and even they were ones who tried to resist the civilization. I give them credit for that. At least they show resistance,
Yeah,
not
yeah. I think it wasn't even until I'm
yeah.
trying to see. I hope I have this correctly.
Yeah.
1930.
Okay.
That
Wow, you're so good in history.
that
You're
that
so good in history.
the Europeans, that's the British, right, were able to like subjugate Kano.
Wow.
Yeah, as it will be actually under them. I know if you remember like indirect rule, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know the indirect
So
rule. Yeah.
even after many of the northern states were
Mm,
brought under indirect rule,
mm.
Kano as the Kano kingdom, right,
Yeah.
still resisted that until the year 1930. This was like just 30 years before
Wow.
independence, right?
Wow.
I think
Wow.
there was something that was called the Battle of Kano.
Mm.
That yeah, I think there was a series of battles between the Kano kingdom and the kings in Kano then, and the British Empire. And yeah, they eventually lost. Yeah, but then they held on for the longest, at
Wow,
least.
I think
So yeah.
so but I love every culture. Me and Nigerians were full of culture. I love it, but I say these are the particular one I really want to explore more. I want to, who knows why I'm diving into it? Maybe there is a sister. Maybe at the end of the day, no. But let me just leave one comment. They always say that but they say Yoruba ladies I know how to take care of a guy. So I don't know. I
Hey,
don't know.
all
But
right.
that's not my
The
motive. I'm not saying
Yoruba
that.
ladies in the audience. Dr. Hallowin is here spending a shout out.
No, but actually that is one. Like
All right, that's great. And I think one of the in the early days of the podcast, we did a little bit of coverage on the early civilizations and the early kingdoms and empires that were in Nigeria before Europeans came. We went for as far back as 2,500 years ago,
okay.
because yeah, we can actually trace civilizations in here in Nigeria as far back as that.
Wow.
So yeah, and I think even subsequently, I think I have a plan to actually go through the history of those. We dedicate particular episodes to each of those empires and civilizations and kingdoms, and we talk about them at least somewhat comprehensively, of course. But that's over time. I know that's another promise I'm making on the podcast, but it will happen eventually, of course.
Excellent. Yeah, sure.
You've taken us on another historical trip there. All right, so let's ask one more question before we ask another quiz question, right? Okay. So this one is, you're a medical student now, and these medical students, I know you read a lot of books, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, who is your favorite Nigerian writer, and what is your favorite book by them? So please don't tell us Obionu, don't tell us Agbola. I don't want to hear Azubike.
Oh my god.
Not
why
medical.
You just close all doors?
Not medical books.
Oh my god.
Yeah, your favorite Nigerian book that all our readers, all our listeners can relate with.
Oh my god. You just closed every book.
No,
And you say only Nigerians.
Nigerian writer.
If I see what Lucien Kanko. If I say Chimamanda.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've read Soyinka book. Okay. I've read Chimamanda book. I've read there's another one also.
So your favorite Achebe?
Yawa. Okay. Achebe. You don't make me speak outside now. Don't say yawa. Yeah. Chino Achebe. Like, who did Eze go to school? With Chino Achebe?
No, it's not Eke. It's not Eke.
It's someone
I
that.
think it's Achebe. It's not Achebe.
Eze goes to school.
Achebe did not write. Eze goes to school. I'm trying to remember the name of the writer. No, please forgive me. I've forgotten.
Okay. That being said, there's also a new.
wrote The Bottled Leopard. So it wasn't the writer of Eze goes to school. I can't remember.
Okay, and there's currently a writer now that I'm following. Okay. I don't know if so many people know about her, but I'm just going to mention her name. She's a medical doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, she graduated I think 3 years ago. She's married. So, and she's new into this writing, but she have written several books.
Okay.
What I mean by new, like she's maybe begin to write that
publishing, right?
Yeah, publishing, of course. Yeah, she's Grace Ochibo.
Okay.
Yeah, she writes a lot. She loves writing. I think
your favorite Nigerian writer?
I'm just mentioning her because I'm going to make a choice right now.
It's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
So who is your favorite writer?
So, I'll go for. Can I just say these people I mentioned at least?
All right then. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Right.
I love them.
You mentioned at least 3 or 4 writers, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us your favorite book by each of them?
Okay, actually, just as I was saying, I said that as a medical student, I know some of the listeners will not forget. I apologize that a medical student, even the boss here, the one running
I
the,
beg you. I'm
he
just a
also
boy.
acknowledged that we have a lot to read. So
Yeah,
I have not
very
been
good.
opportune to read much, but I've read books about books from Prof. Soyinka, Chimamanda, Chinua Achebe, and then I also talk about a foreign writer, Jonathan
Jonathan
Swift,
Swift, yeah.
about the Gulliver's Travel, and I also share with you how fascinating is the his book, the one he wrote. So
Yeah.
having said that again, I think you mentioned some books by Wole Soyinka. Is it the Sunset?
Yeah,
You mentioned
okay.
one.
Soyinka, is primarily like a playwright. So
Okay.
he writes plays, The Trials of Brother Jero.
Mm.
This one that they even made a movie about earlier this year. Was it earlier this year or late last year? The King's Osman, Death and the King's Osman. That's the name of
Okay,
the
I
book.
heard about the
Yeah.
movie.
Did I mention The Lion and the Jewel? That's one of
Maybe no.
his more popular plays. And then, of course, there are the novels and non-fiction books. It's written out a lot about Nigerian politics, Nigerian history, and stuff like that.
Mm.
Like, okay, The Man Died. That's my favorite book by him. Man,
Mm.
that book. I relate to it a lot because of my own ideology. And
Mm.
the brand of ideology that I relate with.
Mm.
If I introduce myself at the beginning of this podcast, I
Mm.
introduce myself as a scientist, but
Mm.
online, like okay, on Twitter, for example, I'm the leftist scientist,
Mm.
and I think I once told someone that I'm not just leftist, I'm probably
Mm.
as leftist as the left goes.
Mm. I
If you
like that. I
know,
like that
and
combination. I like that.
if you understand the right-left spectrum,
Mm.
you'll understand what exactly I'm driving at or what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
So basically, and the mind died is a denouncement of the Nigerian government and of power and abuse of power for the most
Mm.
part. That's the kind of book the man died was, and it's a book I love and I cherish very much. I mean, if you on WhatsApp, I'm
Mm.
always posting excerpts from that book.
Wow, wow, wow. That's great.
From
I like that. I like
there was
that.
this one of my favorite section that was, I think it was even around the beginning in the prologue of one of the editions that I read anyways, about where he was saying that I think the essence of what he was saying there was, if you have detected that power or the people wielding the power are wrong, or
Mm.
people have abused power, or that it has been used wrongly, then it becomes almost like a crime for you to participate in the kind of system that perpetuates the power,
Mm.
or the
I
or,
like
yeah.
that.
And then he painted a picture, or in that case, of what you should do, of what people, family units should do in that sense. And it says
Mm.
you should put up a picture or a symbol of that power.
Mm.
For example, the picture of the head of state in that kind of
Mm.
system. So
Mm.
even if you have to participate in that system, this is
Mm.
something you should do after saying your morning prayers. Put up a picture of the president on the wall, and
Mm.
then the waste of the food from the night before, throw it at the picture. Then you can go out and participate in the system, and at least
Mm.
know you have, at least in your heart, you don't
Yeah.
agree with it, but
You
you have
don't.
to do it
You just have
because
to do it.
out of
Yeah.
necessity, right?
Exactly.
Don't
Exactly.
worry, it's just a long rant of
I like
me.
that, man. Boss, you're full of stuff to stuff
Please,
apart from the
I
medical
beg you,
stuff.
I'm a learner. It's just we're all
That's what
students.
learners is now. They will just leave us behind.
I
They'll be
beg
telling
you.
us, I don't know anything. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so Wale Soyinka is, of course, is a person I respect a lot. I love his works, and
Hmm.
Chino Achebe. Who, you know,
Man, we have good writers.
yeah,
I mean,
we do,
we have good
we
writers.
do.
It's just that sometimes I feel the country as a system has failed so many talented people. These
Yeah,
are people that are supposed to be like receiving recognition, like
yeah, like,
because to not only for them as say, but to also motivate other people. Like let's say someone have the interest of writing now, and we just hear something like, if I write, which I will even achieve. So person don't write, but waiting they achieve for their life. So
well,
because I know in the United
it's
States there,
actually, it's more of a global issue. Like
yeah,
writers struggling and artists
okay,
struggling a
but
bit.
but
But
I'm
yeah,
but
I
I'm
know.
but
Yeah,
I'm
in
feeling
particular here,
yes,
the struggle is even worse.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because say, for example, like Wole Soyinka now, I
Mm,
know. Yeah, he does get some recognition as like the only Nigerian to have ever won the Nobel Prize.
mm,
But like, how much of his books, how much of his works, how much do we actually know of him,
yes, yes, yes,
his
yes.
ideas, right? in Nigeria, how much of his ideas are being taught in Nigerian schools
Exactly.
today?
That's what I'm
He
saying.
won the
Yes.
Nobel Prize, but how many Nigerian
Mm.
kids, how many Nigerians right now even know why he won the Nobel Prize?
Exactly.
For what work? He didn't
And he's
win the
from
Nobel Prize.
Nigeria.
Yeah,
So
I think, and also, yeah, that's as you say, that's also partly due to, like, because I know, like, many people in government, like, from what I've just described, the excerpt I described from the mandate, meant the powerful people, like people in government, will not want that kind of ideology to be taught in schools
you
at
see,
all.
yeah,
Because it's
because
dangerous for them,
yes,
right?
yes, because they know such idea will be building a generation of revolution.
Yeah,
So like the youth, the future leaders will not agree to their own way of
exactly.
living. So they won't just let. It's just like planting a seed, just like maybe planting a seed of a tree that if the tree grows, you're not going to share in the shadow, or you're going to
Exactly.
partake in the fruit of the. So
Yeah.
like you won't want to put your
But they're
manure, your
cool.
soil,
The
and
thing
some
is,
stuff.
that's the sad bit, is that they're cool.
Yeah.
They could partake, they could enjoy from the fruit of that tree
Yeah.
too, if they only get to be part of the generation
But only,
that nurtured the tree.
only when they consider that fruit not forbidden, because they see they see this ideology as a way of fighting who they are, because they know they are corrupt.
Exactly.
So they don't want anything to like stand in their way in terms of ideology, in terms of power, in terms of anything you can think of. So I feel the USA and other countries will be celebrating our writers. These are good people, but we Nigerians, we are yet to realize the potential and what actually these people are talking, and to even implement what they are saying. So it's another hard thing.
Exactly. Thanks a lot. I mean, we could go on all day talking about our favorite writers and our favorite ideas from them. But then, listeners, as you see, man, this is the thing we are passionate about, and I think our guest here in the studio has taken us on quite a journey. All right, but that's
boss want to make me feel big of myself. Anyway, no
man,
problem.
you big already, man.
I
No
don't
one
say
can make you
anything. I
feel
don't
bigger
say-
than you
Well,
already
it's a pleasure having you, and I've learned a lot to do. You're the one that I've been asking questions, but I think from the questions I've also learned a lot from your contribution.
The pleasure is mine.
Boss, it's my pleasure.
Thanks
It's a
lot
pleasure.
for
Yeah.
gracing us with your presence. So I think before we have 3 more questions to go, 3 more interview questions to go, right?
Okay.
So before we continue, I would like to ask the second of our quiz question. Another quiz question, right?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know promises, but okay. So this question, right?
Yeah.
I could make it simple,
But you will not.
because the problem with that is if I'm to make it simple, it will be too simple, and I wouldn't want to do that.
God. This is the problem of discussing with somebody that's too intelligent. You
No.
understand?
The thing here is
This is the problem of
you
discussing somebody that's too
you are a
intelligent.
boss of mine, and we are not supposed to do that to our bosses. If you give them
Oh my
questions
God.
that are too simple, it's like we are insulting their
You know,
intelligence.
when they want to slaughter you, when they want to deal with you. You know, even when we're in the clinic, if a consultant is a consultant want to deal with you, you call it doctor. Doctor, come here. This is cannula. Then that doctor that he first mentioned.
He's about to slaughter you.
Yeah, he's about to. So that's what you are doing right now. You're calling you boss.
I'm actually being
No problem. Let's see how it goes.
I wouldn't want to insult your intelligence by asking you a question that's too simple. Below you, it's too below you. No. So let's spice it up.
Okay, now let's see how it goes.
So here is this. If I were to make the question too simple, the question I have asked is, what currency was in use in Nigeria before the naira? But you know that is the British pound. That's simple. So it's below you now. I can't ask you that.
No. Okay.
I could also ask, what year did the naira get introduced at the start as the currency in Nigeria? But we've asked that before on the podcast. It's 1973. So there's that. So the question I'm going to ask here is a bit simple, but it's leading up from that. Is that when the naira was first introduced, you have heard stories about how the naira used to be
Depreciating.
it has been depreciating, right, with time, but it used to be like very valuable back in the days, and that's true.
That is very true.
But then the question is this: how valuable was the naira
compared to dollar
in specific? Compared to the British pound now. So
I thought
what was the initial exchange rate when the naira was introduced in 1973? The naira to pound now.
Hey,
the British pound.
See,
I know you just.
Anybody listening to this?
All right, go ahead.
Anybody listening to this? See, me, I was happy that they want to mention dollar and now pound. Even pound, Pound the biggest currently. I think pound is the most expensive, the most appreciable, valuable currency. Pound, right? I think pound
Yeah,
is
yeah,
bigger than dollar.
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm even certain of that. Pound is bigger than dollar. So talk more of now. I don't even know the value of pound. Sef. Me, I know the value of naira and cedis, but of pound I don't know. So to talk more of then, hi. So it was the Britain people that introduced the pound. So what am I expecting? Are they going to introduce a pound that is
Like we were using the pound
yeah?
even after independence
Okay, then
until
introduce
1973
naira.
when the Nigerian
Naira
government
introduce
introduced. This
naira.
was
So
1973. That's Obasanjo, right? Yeah,
yes, yes,
during
yes. So
Obasanjo's military rule.
from my analysis, I know since Nigeria was colonized by Britain,
Mm.
Nigeria will not introduce a coin that will be more valuable than dollar. Of course,
And the pound.
than a pound. Sorry, than a pound. Of course, it will have a value, but I don't think the British will let them introduce a currency that will be more valuable than their currency. Well, I don't know. Let me just. Can I just guess, or are you going to give me options?
Should I give you options?
Yeah, give me
Or should I
options.
let you guess?
Give me
Okay.
options.
Here are the options. A, 2 naira to 1 pound.
I think that is reasonable. Let's go.
B, 1 naira to 1 pound.
It's also reasonable because the economy was intertwined.
C, 10 naira to 1 pound.
10 naira to 1 pound is too big. It's
Okay.
too big. It's too big for people that are fighting for their rights to agree that they will introduce a currency that will be so low compared to pound like that. 10 naira.
Well, but like compared to what we have today, 10 naira to 1 pound is not that bad.
I know number of them, but on them,
Yeah,
they
I
are
get
fighting
your
for
point,
their
I get
rights.
your point.
And they are fighting for their right because they are realizing that these people are taking their
For
natural
economic
resource.
independence,
Yes,
right?
so if they agree to introduce, so it's just as if they are still subdued compared to that time I'm saying.
Okay.
So I think that 10 naira to 1 pound is out of my options. So I'll remember that two option.
Okay.
2 naira to 1 pound and 1
1
naira
naira
to
to 1 pound.
okay, 2 naira to 1 pound is good. But I will not go with 2 naira to 1 pound.
Okay, why?
Yes, I will not go to it because at that particular time we were under them, we were into them. I think some of our people used to even go there to study. So and the economy, as if England people of Britain people were still had influence, deep influence into our economy. So, but to go to 2 naira, I think is reasonable too because the Britain people will not allow them to introduce a currency that will be equal to their.
It's not. You see,
I know they
how
have.
economics work is not even like that. What you're saying makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing is, how economics actually work is not. The problem is if your currency is too valuable,
Yeah.
then it becomes a problem for you actually when you want to trade internationally. Especially if the currency is too valuable and your economy is not that strong.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like Nigerian economy then was not very strong. Was not a developed economy. So if they are to have it a very powerful currency, people will not have enough trust in the currency to want to buy it and they want to conduct transactions in it. So it become a problem. And this actually happened.
Okay.
Because after the civil war, there was a time when Gowon said our problem is not money but what to do with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Like what he said, so the thing what we're saying there is that although there are different interpretations of what that could have meant, but I think one interpretation I've heard was that what he's saying is the problem is the economy is looking buoyant, but not many people outside, like foreign investors, will have enough trust that buoyancy will continue for in the long time. In the long term, right?
Yeah.
So it actually became a sort of problem for the country, even though the currency was powerful, then it was still a problem. So yeah, even if it's not a matter of even they allowing you to introduce a currency that's more powerful or that's more powerful than theirs, or like that's more valuable than theirs. It's just that how much trust the currency does it have in can people have in the currency.
Okay, having said that, I think I'll go for 2 naira 1 pound.
And our listeners will say, I keep trying to tell you answer. Why wouldn't I just let you go for the wrong one and get done with it? Because actually, 2 naira to 1 pound is the correct answer. Yeah. So just imagine. The thing is, this question I asked it because it's kind of like mind-boggling to imagine what life could have been like if, for example, now the exchange rate were to be like that. I mean, God. I have. Say I have like 2,000 naira in my bank account. Now imagine if it's 2 naira to 1 pound. Then that means I have 1,000 pounds.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
Do you know what you can do with 1,000 pound?
In Nigeria,
let's even forget about
in Nigeria,
let's let
at the very
oh
least.
my god,
Particularly speaking in Nigeria, what you can do is for £1,000.
well, you can do a lot as of
You
now.
can do a lot.
As of now, $1,000, I think it's up to 1 million now.
It's more than.
Yes, I think it's
Because
1.2.
they use the black market.
Yes,
black
because
market exchange rate, right?
yes,
That would be
because
like 1.2 million, 1.3 million.
exactly. So
Yeah.
can you imagine? And let me tell you something. Just is it when we were in level for what year was that? 2001. I think that's when
You were in
Bitcoin
level 4 in
alt.
2001?
What level 4?
2021?
No, sorry, I'm not. Sorry, I'm not. No, I'm talking about 2021.
Yeah.
Not 2001.
Yeah.
2021 when we were in level. I think that's when Bitcoin reached its all-time $63,000.
So.
So, but then I was into cryptocurrency. The exchange rate, do you know exchange rate was $570?
Yeah, back in 2021.
How many years now? Just in a span of 2 years. 2 years. So at then, if you have $1,000, you have equal to Nigerian money, you have 500. But now, like it's doubling.
3 million.
So I'm telling you, man, we are going somewhere else.
Yeah,
We really need to work on this.
The economy has been through some rough times in the past.
If at all you have USTD, then you didn't even buy any coin. Like you have
just
you have
USDT.
yes, you have
Man,
Nigeria, you have pump with
doubled
Nigeria. Your income with your own current your country currency. That's very bad, you know.
So to picture that back in the day, man, that was the exchange rate, and even it was 1 naira to $0.6 then. So that's about
1 naira to 0.6.
1.8 naira to $1 thereabouts. Wow. Anyways, so yeah, that's how life used to be. And that's due to a lot of factors. Then it wasn't like the economic this thing were so great. But it was just a lot of factors. We are still developing them. We get to do a lot of this stuff that the government can't actually get about to doing now. But yeah, it is what it is, and that's just to take us back to those times and paint those pictures. All right, thank you, sir, for taking us down memory lane once again. So on to the next question now. For this one, I have two options, right, for which question to ask next. I'd like to go for the, so to speak, less controversial one, or should I just say the one that I think we can actually trash in the littlest amount of time. But I hope, because this one is a bit nostalgic, so I know it will still take us back in time. Anyways, this one is basically the nostalgia question. Is this: what's a story that you've heard or that you've been told about how things used to be back in the day in this country, that you think you would like to experience for yourself, that you would like to live through? You understand? Like, all the story that someone has told you about how back in the day, back in my days when you were young, when boys were men, or when men were boys, right? We used to go to school without shoes. That's something. This is a throwback to our previous episode. Something like that. Anyways, so what's something you've heard about how things used to be in this country that you think you would like to live through yourself?
Okay. Okay. Let me just start with the basic one first. First of all, I would like to say nowadays you don't go to neighbor's house and eat anyhow.
Food,
you understand?
Yeah.
Boy, we really miss that. We miss that. Most especially now that there are variety of food. You understand?
Yeah.
Me, I used to imagine that. Imagine then that there are not even that kind variety of food. People go to neighbor house and eat and no problem, no issue. But now there are variety of food, and then we cannot go to because of civilization and kind of some stuff.
Yeah, and kind of because of how these changes in society and how our societies are planned,
civilization.
Back in the day.
You know one thing I'm missing is how people socialize. This might be something that most people are not inconsiderate about or have not actually thought of it. But I realized that civilization or the world of now compared to before is more of a personal living. People are living alone. That's in a short form that I can put it. I don't know. It's because of I don't know if it's introduction of internet, phones, gadget, I don't know, but people are trying to live on their own nowadays. Like, you hear people
And
don't say, I don't want to bother myself with this, I'm just in my room and just like, what about the days, where are those days where people hang out, where people talk about society, where people talk about common things, common goal with each other? Like, you go out, hang out with people, you spend some quality time, build a relationship. Now relationship is dying in the world of individuality. Is that what they call it? There's one particular idea
yeah,
that I don't know. So everybody's trying to live on his own, everybody's trying to do his stuff, everybody's trying to play his part. I miss those days where people share things, go out, in love, in unity, because sometimes I see to my parent, my mom, my dad, and they tell me how their life was back then without phones. So after eating, you don't have your phone to just sit in your room and keep chatting. You go out and build relationship. You meet friends. You talk about things about the community. You contribute. But nowadays, I really miss that. I wish those days, because the world of the internet now, see, everybody's feeling is important. In social media stuff like that. And also, to add more to that, well, I think that is it. I'm even
anyways,
lost.
people in the audience, that's how I just caught stray shots from my boss here in the studio, talking about how people like to sit in their room pressing their phones and whatnot, and that's what I do with half my free time.
So even
But
boss is
yeah,
involved.
I mean, man, I'm guilty
So
as
please,
charged.
let's go
But
out and
yeah,
socialize with people.
yeah, I think
Go out to
that's
your friends, to your neighbors. Go out to your relatives, talk to them. Socialize with people. Please don't just sit in your room with your phone, with your TV, with your laptop. You're just watching movie, and sometimes it's common saying, "Me, I would just want to live my own. I don't want everybody to cross my lane." Like, that thing is killing. Everybody's having this idea that I can do it alone. I can work out my stuff.
yeah. So
So
let's learn to live together with people, live in harmony with nature.
yeah,
Communal
that's
living
great.
is important. You can't no man is an island unto his own,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You have to
Exactly,
live with
exactly.
people. That's the whole point behind this. When they say humans are social creatures,
Mm,
right?
I
we
like that,
we
boss.
did not evolve to live individually. We evolved to live together with people, right?
Mm,
There's no way to survive on your own. You can only
exactly.
survive in togetherness with others.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, and that's a great. Well, I do not like to use the word lesson,
Mm.
but this is indeed a great lesson to pick out from this. If there's
Boss, hear the boss
you
speaking.
are the boss.
After the boss modernize everything.
you,
Ah, I like
you are
that.
the boss. You are
I
the one
like
who
that.
gave us the lesson, sir.
I like that.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thanks so much, Ayo.
All right, so let's move on to the next question here. Okay, so here's the next question. I would have liked to go into the background story of how this question came about, but let's not go into that today. That's an entire episode unto itself.
Okay.
It's from a movie, and I would like to do a review of the movie one of these
Yeah,
days.
okay.
So the question is this: you must have heard it in some discussions, people talking about it sometime. When they say like Nigeria's independence, Nigeria was not ready for independence. In fact, some people used to say Nigeria is not ready for independence and stuff like that. But it used to be like much of a subject matter of discourse back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm talking in the olden days now. The question is this: that do you think that Nigeria's independence came too early or too late?
Yeah, honestly, I will. The thing is, let's be honest with ourselves. It sound anti-Nigeria to some people, not me. When you say Nigeria was early for independence, it sound anti-Nigeria, and you feel as if people saying this are in support of colonization. Sorry,
Yeah.
but to be very realistic, Nigeria independence was not only early, was too early. Let me give an example now. When you give birth to children, when they are tender, at that particular moment of time, they are just children. They don't know who they are. They don't know love. You have to teach them. When they fight, you have to keep them and say, look, this is your brother, this is your sister. You need to love them. When I'm not around, you have to take care of your young ones. This kind of thing we learnt them. So if per se, as they are young and maybe you just go and leave them, you assume they are born from the same parents, so you assume that everything will be all right, because they have not grown to understand the love you are supposed to be teaching them. At any point in time, when there's a problem, nobody to put them and give them that understanding. So you don't expect them to express that love that they should have been taught. So what I'm trying to say in excess is, we needed time for the Hausa man to understand who is a Yoruba man, for the Yoruba man to understand who is an Igbo man, for the Igbo man to understand who is a Yoruba and a Hausa man. Okay, having understand this, what I want to say is, for every country that experience civil unrest, after the white men colonization have their own reasons, peculiar reason. It
Yeah.
must not necessarily be the same reason.
Yeah.
So
There's no
for
single reason.
yes,
Yeah.
there's no single reason. So for Nigeria, as I choose to see it, is that the Yoruba man needed time to understand who an Igbo man is and who a Hausa man is, and quite also for the Igbo man and the Hausa man too.
Yeah, and we needed to be able to form a unique enough government that will
Exactly.
take into consideration all our differences and all our
Yes.
different
Yes.
needs.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
exactly. Do you know what I see? If at all these people were eager to set a set of ruling for Nigeria, they should have do it in form of district. Why don't they do it in district and say, okay, this will be as a form of the way they do their parliament,
You know,
and say the Igbo man, the
funny
Hausa
thing?
man, the Yoruba man would both decide on what is going to happen in
You know the
district.
funny thing?
No.
That's what they did,
Okay.
right? So the crazy thing is, it's not just that, it's not just what they did, it's about how they did it.
Okay.
You understand? But right, you know, this is the funny thing about the world and how the world works is sometimes you try to you do the right thing, right? But if you don't have the right intention behind it, you do that right thing in a haphazard way,
Exactly.
right? That's such, and that sometimes it's better you don't do a thing at all than for you to do it and do it incompletely.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what they ended up doing. The thing is this: they modeled the Nigerian government right after the British government.
Okay.
That's why we had a ceremonial president.
Mm.
The problem here is, yeah, even though I said like the British have learned from experience at that point, I had to form a government that can withstand the test of time and stuff like that. You can't give us the same type of government
Your
as
people will.
there is in Britain because
Because-
Nigeria has its own peculiarities.
Yes.
And that's
Britain, I think they are the same composition of people of same religion and language, and they
for
share
the most
common
part,
goals.
anyways. For the most
For
part,
the most part.
yeah. So like a lot of that failures is what made the early Nigerian government fail, anyways. Because yeah, if you read into the history of how the government was formed, there was no real election. That's why
Yeah.
the earlier question about who was the first elected Nigerian president, because there was no, the election was not to elect the president. They only elected like representatives and stuff like that for the most
Yeah.
part. And the whole thing was, oh, there is a bunch of story. It's a
Well,
good
I,
day.
I,
So
I-
yeah, actually, yeah, so yeah, you're right. Anyways, in what you're saying, that more time was needed
Yeah, it was
to actually
needed for us
form
to
what would have
understand.
been a functional government,
Yes,
right?
to
For us to
understand.
understand exactly the peculiarities of Nigeria
Yeah.
and Nigerian societies, for to see the kind of government that you will need to
Exactly.
actually function as a country or as a
Exactly.
nation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know more of politics, I think this is one of the reasons for me I choose to see it that way. That we actually needed time to understand each other and to go fluent to understand our differences, but it was not
You
not given the
actually
opportunity.
will be right in that, and that's a great one. Thanks a lot for that.
I appreciate
We appreciate you.
it.
All right, so for the last question now, this is an interesting one. This one is one that I look forward to, and look forward to hearing from our guests
Okay.
about in this as we bring into the on the podcast. So Nigeria, you know, this is a popular saying, or this like a popular colloquial saying, anyways, in Nigeria. I hear that you say problem no dey finish,
Problem no dey finish.
and
No be even for Nigeria, as a human being.
and
You dey pray make you buy motor. You don buy am finish. You don dey look for it. You don dey decide types of motor. You know that is the problem. Oh. Now, if you don't have a car now, you're just praying to buy any type of car.
yeah.
You just want to have a car.
But
Now, when you have the
everybody
car
comes-
now, you begin to think of what different type of cars and
Mhm.
what they render, what kind of service they render.
so
So problem no
basically,
dey
problem no
finish.
dey finish,
No dey
and then Nigeria problem for
Ah,
it's
if
even a
problem
higher
no dey finish.
it's even a higher degree of the finish. abi?
Nigerian problem just dey come every day. Dey come boku.
So
No dey finish.
so the question is this: so Nigeria has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
If you are given the power and the opportunity, if you're given the power and the opportunity, right,
Yeah.
to solve one problem with
Mm.
Nigeria, just one,
Mm.
which problem will you choose and why?
I think I've been saying this, and thank you for this opportunity. You see, Nigeria problem as a whole is tied to one particular thing.
Okay.
One part. If we can be able to solve that. See, before I even say anything, let me remind you that Nigerians, we love ourselves. Oh.
Yeah, we do.
Like Nigerian man, and we sabi hustle. We are hardworking people. You understand?
Yeah.
If that only one thing can be untied, can be removed, and Nigeria we work together, we can be able to make exploit. So I think that one thing that I would like to remove. In fact, I will not. The problem here's the way I'll present it. If I have the power, the ability to unite. One problem of Nigeria, forget all this corruption we do and all this civil unrest, riot here and there. We're doing it because we are not united. Nigerian is not united. And there's so many things that have divided us in terms of religion, in terms of cultural belief, in terms of political issue. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
in terms,
yes.
So in terms of even socioeconomic class, we are not united. So if there is a way, that is why our leaders don't want us to unite. If you realize very well, in campaigns, leaders are always trying to create diversion and division among us. So if there is any way that one day in Nigeria we can be able to unite, if you can be able to solve the Nigeria of division and bring unity in Nigeria, for we to unite to a common goal, I'm telling you, Nigeria will be a place to stay. So it comes down to the corruption. If Nigeria are united, we will unite to fight leaders who are corrupt leaders. We won't vote them in the first place.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the person that is going to contest, if it is a Christian or a Muslim or a traditional worshiper, we all unite and say no, we don't want you, irrespective of what you are going to say. And then
even if somehow he got into the position where you can unite to
bring them back, to bring them back. But because each and every time we want to voice out something that is disturbing us, the leaders come out and create a division among us. Even when it comes to election, you try to create a division so that Nigerians don't unite and make a common goal. And check it out, when you see developed countries, more of the reason why they are developed is because they have a common voice. If, for example, if it's a Hausa man that is in power, if he's doing something wrong and the Yoruba man and the Igbo man are voicing out, the other people will say, no, it's because it's our person. And quite also for the Igbo men too, that's what they will do. Quite also for the Yoruba men too, that's what they will do. But that's why I'm trying to give you the idea of homogeneity. Like if we are all homogeneous and not even being homogeneous, if you have a single voice, you'll be able to.
Exactly. So having a single voice
Yeah.
is different from being homogeneous.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is that at least homogeneity helps.
It doesn't help. Being homogeneous means we are of the same kind. It doesn't mean we see things the same way.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the thing with people generally. It's like race is a social construct. It's not an actual thing that exists in nature, right?
Well,
and
yeah.
So like many of the countries you're talking about themselves, the thing with humans is, even if we are all of the same kind, if everybody in the world today were to be black or everybody were to be white, you will still find ways to differentiate ourselves.
But compared to when we are not.
This is what I'm saying. The thing I'm saying is this,
Yeah,
when you're talking about the concept of unity and disunity, it actually has nothing to do with whether we're the same or not, or whether we even agree on most issues or not. It's about, and I know you understand this.
Okay,
it's not
about,
that
just
I get what you say. It's about being able to still come together to achieve the same goal, to achieve a common goal in spite of our differences.
What about if there was not the difference?
That's what actually you think.
What about in spite? What about if there was not the difference?
Dreaming of a world where there are no differences will be dreaming of a world where the differences, or the things that make people unique, have been squashed out of them.
No,
and the way to do that is, there is no peaceful way to do that. Dreaming of a world like that would be dreaming of a violent world.
This is a very
an oppressive one.
Listen, actually, this is a very complicated discussion now that we are about to
we have gone into the philosophy.
But listen to my point.
And I hope people are not tuning
out.
No,
listen to my point. Everyone listening out there should understand what I'm saying. The world can never be a single entity. Our difference make us special.
Yes.
A Yoruba man, a Hausa man, an Igbo man, we are all special in our own way.
Yes.
Now, down into the point that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to say that we should be blind to those differences.
Exactly.
Wait. Let me be done. I know. I'm trying to say that we should be blind to those differences and unite in a common goal.
Exactly.
However, if we refuse to be blind to those differences, it will create a difference.
Yes.
So that is why I was trying to put an analogy for you that if you are trying to be blind to those different, assume that
difference
does not exist. if you are an Hausa man, assume that there is not, when it's come to decision making, assume that there is nothing like I'm a Hausa man, I'm a Nigerian.
Yes.
So with that in our psychology, we will become a homogeneous people in a common sense. That is why I'm not trying to say we should eliminate social
Yeah.
clan of people. That is not what I'm trying to say. And that is why I'm trying to say that that particular, for we to think in certain way, we must enclave ourselves in the room of civilization, because actually it is civilized. Because before, the Persians, we rule the Persians. The Persians always believe they are superior to everyone. They want to conquer anyone.
Yeah.
So it is civilization now that is bringing us together in respect of our differences. So that's why I'm saying that if you don't think it that way, the difference you have will always be a problem.
Yeah.
If you don't think it that way, so please get the point. What I'm saying, we should be homogeneous.
Eliminate
Now,
what you're saying.
yes.
You should eliminate the differences in our minds,
Yes,
even though those
yes.
differences will still exist in the
Yeah,
real world.
yeah,
But
yeah.
in your mind,
They should not be.
it shouldn't
We
be there.
should be homogeneous.
Exactly.
We should think as
So
Nigerians.
when you're dealing with a fellow Nigerian, do not think about where they are from in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Think of them as just a Nigerian.
Yeah,
When you're
exactly.
dealing with another human being,
Yeah.
think of them first as a human being, not
Yeah.
of their race, not of their religion, not of their
Exactly,
ethnicity.
exactly,
Think of them as a
exactly,
human being
exactly.
and relate with them as such.
Exactly.
I think
exactly.
that's
so.
great.
In our thought, we will be all human beings.
So
Rather than being
our boss in the studio is not just taking us through medical lessons, as you see on his Facebook page and his Twitter pages. He's also taking us through philosophical lessons on how to be better people, how to live better lives. It's interesting. These are concepts that people spend their entire lives trying to develop, and in less than a couple of minutes, our boss is laying it down for us and taking us through it. And I'm sure if we listen to this and we actually make use of it, it will make us better people in the end, right?
Sure.
That's great. That's quite nice. Well, we are about to conclude the episode now, but before we do that, should we go for one more quiz question? How do you like our quiz questions?
Okay, we should take it.
So let's take one more quiz question and then we can conclude the episode.
Yeah.
All right. So this episode will probably be the longest we've ever done. Anyway. So let's round it up as soon as we can. All right. So this question is in two parts, but I will ask you one of the parts, and then our next guest on the podcast will be the unlucky one that will be answering the other part, because the other part is actually quite harder than this one. Anyways, you know what is you know the Nigerian national anthem?
Yeah, I know the Nigerian.
Can you recite the Nigerian anthem?
Like seriously?
Like the first verse.
Okay. The thing is, well, when you have been asked about something in a public, even something you are conversant with, you are very familiar with, you tend to make mistake.
No, I'm not asking to recite the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just like the first line also.
Okay. I hope I do this well.
Sing it
and
with your choir voice. Just the one line. Just one line.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. Arise, O compatriot.
And there goes our choir master in the house.
Nigeria is called obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. One nation. Hey! Seriously.
I think it's just a couple of lines, but
wait, you don't think I do national anthem?
Yeah,
for university,
So the whole thing is just So you know the national anthem. That's not the question.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So the question is this: the national anthem. This one, Arise, O Compatriots. Arise, O Compatriots was introduced sometime in the 1970s, meaning that there was a national anthem we were using before then.
Yeah.
Do you know what that was?
Well, actually, I know that we had another one, but I really don't know which one was.
Okay, and it's one that's called Nigeria We Hail Thee.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
You remember it, right? Yeah, I think it's written in the kind of British language. I think it's probably modeled after the God Save the King, God Save the Queen anthem that they use in Britain. There, kind of sharp, but not really. What kind of So it was introduced in the 1970s. Well, that's it. That's history for you. And that's the episode, you dear listeners. I hope you've gone through this entire journey, the journey of this episode with us, and I hope you've had a good time as much of a good time as we've had here in the studio, because
Excellent. Actually, I was blessed. You know, it's a blessing. I love talking. So, like having an opportunity like this to share my thought with people.
yeah.
It's encouraging. It's fun. You know, thanks so much for
And
listening out there.
it's been a
And
blessing. It's
and
been
I
a
want to tell
blessing
you, please,
engaging
to
in this
keep
with you too.
following. Keep following. Don't ever miss any of my boss episode.
Oh please.
Try as much as possible to
Oh
listen,
please.
because you'll be missing a lot. Actually, as you can see, I was impacted today. So thanks so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I am encouraged actually.
And thanks a lot for gracing us with your presence. I
Yeah.
can't appreciate you enough. I mean, we've actually gained a lot too
Mm.
with your presence here. You know, the discussions you've fostered here,
Mm.
the things some people have listened to here that
Yeah.
we've never had the opportunity to engage in discussions about with people, before. And
Exactly.
that's the thing, right? That's the kind of the goal of this podcast, to foster discussions that
Mm.
need to happen for this nation to
Move
move
forward. Yeah.
forward into the future that we hope for it, right?
We
Yeah.
envision. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's great. This is what we love to see happen here, and we're grateful for you
Yeah.
for making that happen today. And so, before we end the podcast, I would like you to tell our audience members where they can find you online,
Mm.
okay, and if they wish to follow you and contact
Yeah.
you.
Okay, actually, thanks so much for this opportunity. Everyone listening to me right now, I would like to thank you so much for your time, for your listening, for following us along till to the end of this episode. I would like to say, just as I mentioned earlier, I am on social media platform like Facebook, health what
Okay.
it's actually the name of the page. It's where I give my medical update, medical content about disease, learn diseases, prevention method, and also to improve your quality of life with new science innovations. I am also on Instagram as Dr Hallowin. I am also on TikTok as
Okay.
well as Dr Hallowin. On Twitter also as Dr Hallowin. Please follow my page, my social media platform, like, comment, and you can engage me on one-on-one discussion about anything that is bothering you or any subject of matter that you're interested in, and we'll keep it on. Thank you so much in advance as you follow me. I really appreciate it. One love.
Thank you for listening to the end, of course. And Healthworth is spelled HealthWorth. Healthworth. And
Excellent.
Dr. Halloween is Dr.
Mm.
Halloween is Hallowin. So
Excellent.
Dr. Halloween, follow him on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and all
Mm.
other social media platforms. And of course, this is 0100 Naija, the Nigerian Review Podcast. You can find us on Audiomack, on Spotify. We also recently got listed on Pocket Cast and on
Wow.
a new podcast I'm getting up called Jollof Radio. I
Mm.
think it's a Nigerian platform for podcast. Yeah, I think this just happened this week, earlier
Mm-mm.
this week. Yeah, yeah. So we also listen
Congratulations,
there. So
boss. Congratulations.
thanks a lot. And I think also we also got verified as an
Mm.
authentic creator on Audiomack recently too.
Wow,
So
wow, that is
yeah, the
excellent.
podcast is getting bigger. Huh? We're still
Yeah.
little, but at least
Dream come true. Sure,
we're
sure.
getting places. So yeah. So you can follow us on all those platforms and any of your other favorite podcast listening platforms. It's 0100 Ninja, spelled 01 dash 00, that's numerals, Niger, Naija.
Mm.
Yeah, and we also have a presence on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram, 0100 Niger. And I am the scientist.
Mm.
You can follow me on Twitter at Leftist Science. On
Mm.
Twitter, I am Leftist Scientist at Leftist Science. So this is the scientist signing out. I'm saying catch you on the next one, and thanks.